spots in Champions at the end of the year. We are going into map number 1, ladies and gentlemen. ACEND versus Vitality. There is a clear favorite, but we've still got to decide who takes it. And I'm sure some people still riding with Vitality, even if the whole desk doesn't believe in them.
It should be an interesting one, to say the least. I've really enjoyed watching Vitality. I got to cast a seeding match between them and G2, and they gave it as good as they got. I think both Vitality and G2 play similarly in their aggressive playstyle, so it was just two teams taking chunks out of each other. But like we mentioned, ACEND, much more well-rounded, should be the dominant force in this matchup.
Yeah, we're playing 0.05 update here as well, remember. So Viper not quite as strong as what we'll see elsewhere. You can walk through that wall without taking your instant 50 damage and the chunk of change given over. Here comes a slow straight away. ACEND, he wants to take that space. You can feel it, but he's waiting for the rest of the team to group on up. I'm looking for that rain of flash and the dash afterwards, but maybe they don't even need it. Vac, the first man to fall as the site is under pressure. Sender wants to make the play, but he gets shot straight up from above. ACEND takes him down. The site weakens even further. A Viper play needed as Jessamine takes Bone Cold. More needed to be found, but they're just delaying. They're making sure there's room for the flank that just immediately gets deleted as I bring it up. It's almost like Death Note. Brams is gone, and a 4v2 emerges. Vitality not looking too good in the pistol.
Yeah, I think that was the whole plan for Vitality. Wait for the spike to go down. Brams can flank in behind, but because it took so long for Vitality to actually swoop in and get any kills, ACEND expected it almost. Got that kill onto Brams, and then it was an easy plant from then on. Straightforward 1-0. Only took Bone Cold out so far, so the bite's going to be there. And yeah, just check out sort of Brams' positioning. Wanted to wrap around, get a cheeky pick whilst the focus of ACEND was going to be facing forward. Just as soon as he turns around the corner, he just gets bopped in the noggin.
You look at ACEND at the start of this round, it looks like, again, going to be heavy favor to the A side. I mean, when you're playing against this kind of a buy, Ryan, it's always tough on Icebox, because if you go towards A, there's that choke point where they can group up and take you down. But on B, there's so many angles to allow those close-range duels, and that shock dart is so good right away dealing damage. And, okay, Loki will go down, but he got an ult orb for his trouble. It feels like a good start for Vitality, all things considered.
ACEND's just there to do the damage, clear up anybody else that they can, make sure that it doesn't do too much damage to the economy with casualties. And I think we're going to see a lot of this out of Vitality across this series. It's just, I know it's an eco now, but just the pushing, trying to blindside to an extent ACEND what they're trying to do. Certainly in the early rounds, right? You're going to see players from Vitality push down mid, push down me main, see what's going on, see if they get any information. But it's whether, if they run into a player, whether they actually catch them in a duel, right? Because if they don't, ACEND, they find a golden opportunity to move on forward.
It did feel like Loki was kind of hung out to dry at that stage. Once the slow orb came in, his teammates were both down below, and they just kind of fell back, abandoned him in that. In those kind of instances, I prefer to have a player, you know, up on pipe so you can take that engagement if they do push forward, especially after being tagged up by the shock dart. But it is only an eco, and I think altogether, you know, getting that ult orb alone is better than some teams will manage on a round like that. 2-0 as we come into the full buy for Vitality and ACEND. They're going to have some weaker weapons. You know, they've got 3 Spectres to play with, so they're not expected to win this, but they can still take a lot of fights with those Vandals in play. And look at the setup. I love this wall. They're going to go straight under Tube. In fact, ACEND going over and look to just make those close range weapons give some value as they take close range fights running up the alley.
Yeah, they're barreling through. Sender's done well to not get caught out on any stretch of it. Just waiting for somebody to peek along this angle, but his timing's a little bit poor. Misses one player through, but catches onto Killers. Bone Cold trying to take the fight close range with that Spectre, as you said, but Vitality have done a really good job of predicting this move from ACEND. It's just called a mentor. Easy cleanup for Vitality. They had a good read on it. They didn't engage too early, and they just let ACEND run into their crosshairs a little bit.
Really strong round from Vitality indeed. You know, if that play from ACEND, not something you'll see too often on those low buy rounds, but I absolutely love it. That's a real ranked play, you know? You pop up that wall, you move into the site, you get the plant on a side that they're not typically expecting, and the wall even provides you the cover. There's a lot of risks to it, and we saw them kind of backfire, but hey, good attempt. I like them trying something new. Now it's time to go back to basics as the rifles come back out.
Sender was probably one of my favorite players on this Vitality roster. I played on Exile, mostly played Breach. And he was one of the better breaches in the region overall, but the roster change, it means that he's playing a bit of Sage, obviously, but he's also moved over to a lot of Astra, a lot of controller play, and it suits him perfectly. So I'm excited to see more. In regards to ultimates, not quite anything online just yet for Starzo. Not too far away from having a Resurrect. That could come in handy in this round if they're going to play around it, but right now Vitality not aggressing, actually just going to sit back a little bit. Worked last round, let's see if they can make it 2 out of 2.
You can see them testing the timings a little bit there on A. Like, if they just run straight out, is the shock dart there in time? And yes, it is, but valuable that it's Killaz that gets hit. He's already healed up to 100 and can heal himself back up more if he does take a duel. He's going to be playing that lurking role towards A, as evidently they're wanting to take the B site by storm. Already being tagged up once, the drone destroyed. Valuable utility already taken out of the game, but as Jesmine picks up one on the cross, they know now this is definitely a B hit. The res comes in, but he's down below. Jesmine not good for the spam, and now they can take that space, move to the site. They still have an ice wall as well, but I feel like they want to fight Jesmine. They really want to take that duel first. Killaz catching the flank out, gets him back to 150. Plants coming in as we speak. Oh, Killaz even going for more, sticking around. Brams thought he was deeper, and now Loki's the one that's going to try to deal with him, but he could also be in a bit of trouble. Killaz again showing up on the Reyna. We saw it in the last 2 games that ACEND played here on Icebox, and we're seeing it again. This is tough for Vitality. A 2v5, it's almost an unwinnable round.
Jesmine's going to try and make you eat your words there a little bit, Mitch, with a pick, but it seems that more than anything, they're just going to back out, save the guns. This is kind of what I mean. I think Killaz didn't move out of his spawn and gets a free K of players from Vitality that are just scouting out to see, is this going to be a rotation? Are they actually going to plant on B, or is this a fake? And I feel that ACEND will just continue to punish that if Vitality aren't careful. Really good stuff from Killaz, but Vitality, it's weird watching him kind of sit back a little bit, wait for something to happen, and then go, oh, nothing's happened, we need to push, we need to get information. It's how they measure that that's going to depend how well Vitality do on this map.
Exactly, yeah. The ability for Vitality to think on their feet here is going to be seriously tested for a roster so young as a full 5-man coming up against ACEND, who have had immediate success in taking their roster out. They're only a couple months old, obviously 3 months since their first official was played under this banner. I'm pretty blown away by them in general in the grand scheme of European Valorant. I think for Vitality, it's the biggest test that they've had to date.
Vitality can still afford at least. This round is another one they're playing for. Similar setup. Really want to maybe keep trying it until it works and then do something else, because obviously ACEND aren't going to be expecting this double peak, but yet again Vitality wanted to sort of take this space, but ACEND watching a lot of these angles, win that first duel, and suddenly there's an opening over on A. Brams considering maybe sitting back, trying to face. It's a lot of seeing if they can just catch ACEND off guard. It works for one onto Starzo, but the trade is near on instant from Killaz that's coming off the top of the walkway.
Man, they got to deal with this guy. Killaz is feeling confident. He's finding space again and again. Now looking to catch them off guard as they come in for the retake, biding his time. At Recon, I don't think he's even going to come near spotting him. And if they leave this angle unchecked, oh, they're going to be in a lot of trouble. Dropping down, checking, but he gets the first. There's the dismiss, and he's out of there. His teammates covering him on the way. Another 3K for Killaz, and it's going to extend even further into the 4th. This is ridiculous stuff from the Reyna. 4-1. As I said, I really like the change they made in mixing it up and allowing Killaz to play the Reyna like we've seen a while back. And it's worked for them versus Fnatic. It's worked versus Illuminar. It's working in the first 5 rounds, that's for sure.
Yeah, they're not the only team to do it though, which is interesting. A lot of European teams moving away from having, I guess we'll call them a true sentinel, the Killjoys and Cyphers, and changing up that player to be over on Arena, for example. Petitech is a really good example of moving him away from the controller, putting him on the duelist, and it working really, really, really well. So, yeah, Killaz is running away from it. There's not really too much of a bite from Vitality, but Ultimates are starting to come online. Mostly for Vitality, but I'd be pretty upset if they used them this round, especially when it's more likely going to be a 5th round for ACEND.
Exactly, yeah. This isn't a round they want to commit to, but that kill that might make them do it. They've got a weapon to be retrieved in spawn. They've got a player up on 150 health after that heal up, but Killaz, again, the thorn in the side for this team. He keeps on going. They're just unaware of where he is. Luckily, Brams able to take him out. Finally, that player removed. The plan should be able to come in. Brams not quite able to deny that from where he is, unless he updrafts, but it would be risky. Instead, he's looking for a fight from afar. Knives now wasted, but Vax in for a second in the round. This is looking much better for Vitality than what we've seen before, and the ultimate's now going to be used. It starts off with Viper's Pit being deployed. Now, on the site, Starzo is isolated, and CNET has to go straight into that smoke. Doesn't have his dash to play with. He's spamming away, already halfway done on the defuse. Right click is there, but Vac gets a fourth, and plenty of time to defuse that spike. That is a round that I didn't expect to go Vitality's way.
No, it was like, oh yeah, there's no chance for Vitality. And then the Bulldog comes out of all things from Vac. One of those players that you always need to keep an eye on. And it was really interesting watching Vac and Brams come into this team, because you're sat there thinking, who's going to be like the main duelist? Who's going to be the jet player? Because both of them have been so good on their various rosters. But unfortunately, they kind of like constrict each other almost. So it's interesting to see them work in a duo. And yeah, this Vitality team, they have firepower, but it's how they place and position these players in a round that could catch them out. ACEND certainly weren't expecting that.
No, they were not. I mean, yeah, the fact that it was the Bulldog of all things, as you said, like, that's the real kick in the teeth. Bone cold. Oh, he's in such a good position. But the timing a little off on that peak. His low HP soon to be healed up by Starzo, I'm sure. No, I'm not, because he's dead. That's quick. Wallbang closes that out, and now for Vitality, man advantage. Vac almost loses his life. Brams here as well. This is such a solid technical defense, but there's players already creeping up on them as Killaz spots out the information, looks to engage the fight, gets it done, avoids the Hunter's Fury, and Loki, worried about being pushed, has to cancel it after just one pulse. This is a tough round for Vitality to swallow if they lose it. It started out so well, and now they're in dire straits.
Yeah, the ultimate usage not really accounted for much is a real big shame for Vitality. Killaz is going for more. I don't know how many first kills he's had in this game so far, but it's pretty much been all of them. Jesman from a position might be able to get the jump onto Starzo, and even a Resurrect brought in to bring the numbers surprisingly back in favor for Vitality.
Killaz to do it all. This man has to be the one-man army. The first is his. A 4K that could have been another 6K. But no, it's not to be. Man, Reynas on this map, first of all, are insane, but Killaz, he just makes it work so consistently. But even despite that, ACEND lose the round. Vitality, they pull back, and they're within just one of equalizing, and ACEND's economy starting to look a little shaky on some players. I mean, this is a much better comeback into the half than I thought would be happening, and it's all off the back of that low buy round.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny, really. You think back to when Icebox was added into the game. Imagine going back in time and saying, yeah, the meta on this map is Reyna and Viper. But like, I beg your pardon.
No
What do you mean?
Sentinels.
16 and 3 killers. That's an insane stat for, like, round 8. It's ridiculous. But Vitality are certainly back in it. No ultimates, though, really, for other sides, other than Cold Dementor having Hunter's Fury.
I like that Poison Orb lineup that they had. Sender able to take Bone Cold out, and he's running away. The Hunter's Fury pursuing him, and CNED waiting. Jesmond, oh, he's so close to getting taken down, but he will survive just a moment longer because CNED's already on site. Clearly the timing catching them a little off guard. CNED not quite as confident to take duels as Killaz is without the ability to heal up. Killaz was previously lurking out mid. He's come in to help them. I like the shock dart, but it doesn't net them very much as CNED continues to frag. ACEND looks sure to close this one out. Overextension perhaps from CNED. That's an opportunity to get back into this one, but Loki is, well, he's low HP. Going in for a duel is quite risky, but it looks like he does want to force the fight, doing everything in his power to equalize the HP of his opponents, but they're still going for this. I really was expecting a save to kick into gear. Okay, that appears to be it.
Brams needs to be careful. If they're saving, they want to make sure that they keep the operator. These Killaz goes down and that's it. Just the one kill, just get an exit frag, get out of there. Descend. I think the problem with Vitality as well is if you have all of these players sort of going around the map, pushing mid, pushing A, it's very difficult to trade if these players go down. So it's a great opening for ACEND if they get a kill. It's suddenly, there's just one player here, we can just barrel it onto the A site if necessary. It means that Vitality take a lot of map space, sure, but they get taken down. Nobody's there to help them. I love this from Cinder. It's a very typical Vitality play of just being right up to the nose of ACEND as they're pushing in. But the fact that that kill gets traded out immediately and that space has to be given up, one of the reasons why ACEND could take a bad situation and turn it good.
Exactly, and the fact that Jesmond then gets caught off on the timing, that B-side defense just crumbled instantly despite what was a decent start. And that's somewhere where, you know, if you have the likes of Vac in that position, he can get out for free. He can bail, but, well, Killaz ain't going to be bailing from anything this time. The Reyna taken down. He has been such an instrumental factor for them in almost every round secured. And now, well, they're going to actually commit the res to taking him back up. Loki in trouble being pursued. Oh, no! He even takes out CNED. Never mind. I thought that was his fate sealed. Vac with one onto Bone Cold, and suddenly the man advantage goes to Vitality. That's a very good pullback into the round.
Did they see the spike drop as well on A? Might be one of the reasons why we're seeing a bit of an adjustment. We're seeing Jesmond move all the way from B to help out the teammates, or at least keep an eye on mid. Lurking player Starzo is maybe opening the way over to B, so it's very much an area that Vitality might let go, but Jesmond picking up the operator drop from Brams spots that rotation. It's a great canary in the coal mine, but Vitality aren't sold on this yet. They don't know if it's going to be a B hit. Now they're going to get the indication, but they have two players man advantage so far. It's how they use it. Jesmond actually going to make it even cleaner.
Oh, the upshot missed. Hold on. Coldamenta got a chance to win that round. That could have been it, but luckily it is closed out. Vitality will walk away with 4. The defuse being assigned towards Vac, question mark? Yeah, okay, no. Sander was just messing about for a bit. I am, or buying them time perhaps to save another weapon. I have to say, when I look at the way things have played out so far, I'm quite impressed by Vitality, their ability to pull back into a lot of rounds that look almost doomed. So they find the opening kill, but then a res comes in, the challenge by ACEND puts them in the lead, and suddenly they're right back in the game.
I give ACEND much of a chance. It's a really interesting look.
Are we going for the same strat that they did on the Eco? It looks like it. Yeah, they're going to just go for this straight split in through mid, going under tube, and moving towards the B site. You know, when you look at Vitality in this spot, Sender is pretty much the sole defender. He's been walled off, and he's actually broken it. They know he's close. They're ready for the fight. Easily taken down. Man advantage extended, actually, with Coldamenta catching off Vac. And a 4 versus 2 that, well, it favors ACEND yet again. We've seen Vitality pull back into it in the early round, but in the late, they've been having a tougher time. 2 very quick kills. No chance that this is going to be a save. Oh, Loki, he got peeped at just the wrong moment. The ult is online for Brams. He's already pulled it out and looking to move onto the site. Remember, Viper's Pit not as dangerous as it will be on the next update. He's already looking for a victim, and he's seen the barrel ready for the right click. The defuse underway. Killaz needs to move. He catches one, but not the second. Brams, quick to react. Just about enough time, and Vitality, a 4 versus 2 post plant into Viper's Pit, into all the utility that ACEND had from such a quick round, and they still crumble. That is absolutely huge.
I'm wondering what ACEND are going to be able to do now that the pressure's on them. Sorry about before, I think I just did my back in. I don't know what happened, but the Coldamenta play surprised me to the point that I pulled something and I couldn't breathe.
Oh god, that is not nice.
Vitality literally taking my breath away, which is good to see. But yeah, this is ACEND now forced to save, and considering what, like, Killaz was 16-2 very early on, not had the same impact. They can't just run and gun, hope for the first kill as they were before. Now they need to be a bit more considered, and this is where Vitality like to thrive, right? They want to really get into the heads of ACEND, that they could be anywhere. Bramso chases on from CNED, but Vac is there to at least protect the teammate for a while, but Killaz there to trade out. It's a barrel of flurry of shots between both the teams, but a 3v3. This is a thrifty round for the most part from ACEND, and they're really starting to scare Vitality until Loki, just as I'm talking about it, it's like, nah, we got this, easy 3k.
They were just giving them some hope, Ryan, that's all. They wanted to make them believe like they could win the round, so it's that much more devastating when they pull it back. Or, you know, ACEND are very scary when they're on mobiles. That's the more likely of the two. And we come into the final round. You have ultimates online for both teams, but the weaponry is going to be there this time for Ascend. Despite that, they have lost some heartbreaking rounds, especially just 2 ago where they had that 4 versus 2. That is by far the worst one that they have let slip. And as they come into this, when I say ultimates online for both teams, Starzo was very close to getting the res off, but really they don't have anything impactful, whereas the defensive side, they've got Viper's Pit and a res. That is absolutely huge that they can now fight for the final round. Look at the aggression down mid as well.
Yeah, I mean, it has to, right? I mean, we're seeing the toxic screen for the Viper going a different direction to make way for this Viper's Pit too. So Vitality having to overextend just a little bit to see what's going on. Brams could easily be caught out here, but he does win that first duel. Ascend unable to trade because of a well-timed cloud burst. But Ascend over on A trying to up the ante a little bit, but Vac waiting there, knows that there's 2 players, last 2, and Vitality are there to try and take that fight.
Yeah, Starzo's got a big clutch to make happen. I like the jump, but Brams, wise to those tricks, had already swapped out to a Vandal. That is going to be 7 rounds for Vitality, and from what was a pretty poor start, correct me if I'm wrong, it was 4-1 at one point for Ascend. Now becomes a 7-5, very strong defensive half from Vitality, all things considered.
20 kills before the half is done, or just as the half is done even, is still insane. Well, double pretty much what Vitality are able to put together. And Brams was having a really slow start. I think he was like 1-5 maybe, like by round 6 or something. Maybe it's an over-reliance on the operator. I think CNED's been criticized for something similar, but they're both becoming much more well-rounded Jet players. And it's needed. I think Europe was kind of like, we don't need Jet. We're not North America. We can do without. But then CNED comes in, it's like, okay, no, we need Jet. We were being silly, I'm sorry. So it's interesting to see how all of these players have evolved and become much stronger across different weaponry.
Yeah, for sure. Now we go into the pistol round here. Ascend, speaking of weaponry, you're going to have the Ghosts in hand, and Killa is the first to find one. He makes it safely to yellow, as Brams even takes a fade away. Dink, and another from Killaz. This guy just doesn't stop. They're even trying to retreat, and they can't get away from him. It has been a lights-out game from him so far, the first half, and the first quarter more so, being very kind to him. But they slowed down on Ascend. Now with the man advantage to play with, Cole Dementa sees that orb be activated, typically denying vision, although it's a little shallow, so he can see them as they cross out. And the barrel spotted, damage done. Here's Killaz on the way as well to help out. He's coming down tube. He's ready for the fight, and he's going to get it. Look, they haven't got a clue. It's just ridiculous. The confidence and the confidence to take space that he has is just putting them in such a good spot in almost every scenario.
There's so many angles now that Ascend have a hold of. For Vitality, these last 2 players of Loki and Jesmond, the new additions to this team, need to find a duel. Very hard when it's a toxic screen in the way blocking these sightlines, but it's not safe enough to get the plant in, so this is just going into favor of Ascend, who are more than prepared to jump on them as soon as they try to plant that spike.
Bone Cold onto Jesmond confirms it as Loki is the last man alive, and well, Kill, as we talked about, confidence, and that's one way to show it. It just runs through the Viper wall. 7-6, a pistol round again for Ascend, as they're looking to just pick up those early rounds, which they kind of need, oddly, considering the fact that Vitality were so strong earlier. But if Killaz has another lights-out start, like he did previously, and like he has in this pistol, I'm quite worried for Vitality. How do you slow this guy down?
Seems that there's not going to be much of a buy-up. Just a Sheriff Ascender, maybe feeling himself. We see the Bulldog 4K, so Lord knows what else we're going to see on Icebox on its own. Not that much of a buy-up, actually. Bone Cold just holding on to the Ghost for now. And Marshall for seeing it because, of course. It's whether Vitality could get the plant in at this point too. Like, they've got a good way to break onto the site, but Ascender more than ready and prepared for them.
Denying any recon with that cloud burst allowed Killaz to peek, but CNED goes down, heals up now for the Viper of Vank, putting him onto 150 health, but with just a classic, they're going to have to be hitting those headshots to make it work, and Starzo and Killaz, the wall goes up, they've got the site, they've got the trade, not even the trade actually, Brams didn't get the kill, so this should be an easy round. There's no way to stop the defuse, and ultimately, they could have maybe saved a few weapons, but low-key, well, he is shredding them there. That's great damage done. I mean, look, they knew they were probably going to lose that round. Like, they most likely were. But they come in the end with 4 kills. You'll take that every day of the week.
cleanup is interesting. And for Vitality, really, it's the fact that they're just really giving the game to Ascend. Because Ascend favorites, everybody on the team predicted them in this matchup. But the fact that Vitality were able to keep Ascend on their toes is the thing that makes it super interesting. Like, this is a team that people didn't really have high hopes for, and then suddenly now they're going up against the Masters 1 winners and making it a close, scrappy game, which only benefits them.
Most definitely. Oh, look at CNED. He hasn't been spotted by the drone. Great position to play from now if they leave him unchecked as they come on through, ziplining across, dashing. 1, 2, CNED ripping them to shreds. He's even gone in for more. A player up close to him. He's heard the step. He's ready. And it's the ace for CNED. What is that? 8 rounds on the board as Ascend take the lead.
On the A site nonetheless as well, so many angles for this guy to keep an eye on, and he predicts it perfectly. Vitality handed him the ace right at the end for lining up. They just don't check this angle, they dash in, Sender doesn't clear it in time as he's hopping down, and then from here it's just holding this line, ducks in a row. If there was any player that was going to get the ace, it was going to be CNED, and that's why people are looking from him all around the world, and I think a lot of them would really like to see him in Iceland representing Europe, but there's still a way to go. They're in the lead still.
Vitality getting the tag off straight away. There's a little bit of hesitance to walk forward, and well, they lose one without a trade, but CNED, acing the previous round, is taken down by his sheriff this time, getting a little bit overconfident on that A push. Leaves on the backside just cold immense. Oh no, Killez! He's out of the round too. Those are 2 huge skulls to take right off the bat, because this is a low buy round. Those weapons, whilst not fully retrievable, one is, the other deep mid you don't really want to risk, still put them in a fantastic spot now to make a play into the B site with the advantage that they have. Bone Cold not even looking. They know he's walking through. The headshot delivered by Loki, and now he can get himself a Vandal. Oh, this is getting scary. How have they pulled this into a 2v4, and how are Vitality so good when they've only got pistols?
They're magicians. They're so good at making something out of seemingly nothing. Still a chance for Ascend to go in for this retake, although Starzo might be trying to decide. There's no wall to block off the spike for a safe defuse, so he's going for the most unsafe option, trying to push. Brams watching that angle in a more passive position, goes a little bit more aggressively for the 2k onto Colder Menta. And man, these thrifty Vitality rounds are scary, and Ascend, even if they have the economy in their favor, need to be careful of what this Vitality team can do.
8-8. Rifles coming out, and yeah, you got to be careful of what they can do with sheriffs. Imagine when they get those rifles out. I mean, we know this is a comfortable map for Vitality. There's no skirting around that issue. I said that Ascend, to me, looked better on this map, and I still stand by that before the game. But losing out to the 2 ecos that they have, oh, things are starting to look a bit shaky for these guys. Brams committing a lot of cloud bursts early as the wall eventually comes down, and they'll cross over, but CNED now has that op in play. It's his signature weapon, the one that he's known for, and already is eliminated. Vac in with another to Brams, and he's just thinking step right up. In the words of Ryan in his alter ego, hey, don't stop the part A. He wants more and more.
Nice. It was a bit of a maybe overextension from Ascend over to B. It's left the A site more open than maybe Vitality were expecting, but Keyless has now rotated. He's seen players. He's still Ascend are quite passive on this retake. They know that they have the player advantage. They're still just making sure that there's no lurking player that could catch them out, that can try and flank in. And Keyless trying to find an opening. Has the Empress if he wants it, but is opting against it from the looks. Vitality trying to sit back, use that utility in the post plan, but it's not quite working out. It was just Sender holding next to the spike pretty much at that point. The Send were a little bit slow on the start to get in that retake, but it was clean as you like.
Exactly, yeah, just gearing up, allowing those rotates to come in. I like the fact that they don't sort of blindly run in and try to just take fights. They've realized now they need to respect these opponents. If they give 1v1s, they can certainly lose them. I think for Sender here, it was a good attempt to play inside the poison orb, but yeah, his teammates just died way too quickly. They've got to still be alive, otherwise Ascend are not worried about clearing angles because they know, hey, one guy, we can trade kill that easy.
Loki and Brams Nowhere, absolutely nowhere near the frags Achilles has, but this is super close series between these two teams. Vitality, goodbye so far, really. Trying to make it work. No attacking up, probably can't afford it considering the fact that Vac has only got the Bulldog in hand, but I mean, we saw what he did last time with it. Who knows what's going to happen with this Vitality team, but ACEND have been very clear cut on just watching these angles. They're not overextending. Vitality actually not showing anything, just seeing if they can catch out an ACEND player that's maybe overstepping the mark. But both these two teams, after 40 seconds, pretty much haven't moved all that much.
Oh, CNED. He couldn't get the kill in time. A Bulldog is how he meets his demise. And it was a shame because he couldn't hold that angle. They were worried. They had left that area for so long that he was worried about a player maybe sneaking up already. With that, a res comes through and a very valuable trade to take CNED out of the game. Killas being preoccupied on the A site. As Browns is still lurking here, and in fact, Killas is going to have to deal with quite a lot of these players as it's a full rotate. They use that wall to posture up some position, but no, they're not even there. Killas now, hearing all the players, pops his ultimate. They have no idea where he is. The first gives it away. He's going to just fade out with the dismiss and play the retake, but Loki, he backstabs. He takes down Bone Cold on the rotate. Viper utility now gone. And whilst he didn't have his ultimate online, that is still a player less. 4v4 retake, favoring Vitality for sure.
Now ACEND need to be careful that Loki's not lurking in mid. In fact, he's moved all the way back to sort of the A belt because he has that Hunter's Fury, he has that utility ready to go into the post plant. Time is certainly not going to be on ACEND's side, and Sender's even going to make it a bit worse. Again, playing super close in the face of ACEND eventually goes down. Now it's the turn of Vac, and Jesman actually gets taken out too. We were talking about Loki before. Now it's all up to him. The Hunter's Fury, it's whether he sticks it. He doesn't. He just goes for the one pulse, expecting to be pushed. It's not the case, and Keyless is going to stick the defuse. Loki does his best. It comes down to him, and he just gambles wrong, assuming that ACEND were going to push him. They don't. It's a double bluff, and it works out nicely for the defuse.
Yeah, that was the perfect way to play a 1v1, I guess, because he had the Hunter's Fury, he had the post plant, but when they're willing to just stick it like that, you're in so much trouble. And again, the confidence of Killas to just run into a lot of these duels, it's off the charts right now. The guy has 29 kills. We're not even finished the damn game. We've still got quite a bit to go. I mean, performances like this, Zipan got it, what was it, 33 kills, and he had a decent third map last week, which is why he came out as the MVP. I think Killes is already looking for that title, but now there's the confidence finally punishing him. He goes for the mid take and is immediately shut down.
Vitality having the man advantage so far. No ultimates are going to help them. Maybe if Jesman can pick up an orb, he can get a Viper's Pit, which would be really handy in the post plant, but instead he's actually going to try and push up towards the tube, maybe into kitchen. And Cold Mentor knows where he is, takes that fight. Jesman wins it. That's the Viper's Pit online, and Loki bringing it into a 5 versus 2. Never mind, 4 versus 2. Stazo holds his ground in mid, expecting his A hits come in thick and fast.
Oh, he's heard the rope. He knows the player's there, but he can't get it done. It's all down to CNED. Not the kind of guy you want to be facing, but a 1v4 will at least make you feel a bit comfortable. This round should be going their way. The operator of CNED, he still has the dash, so he's comfortable to use it. There's the first shot, knives out, as he looks for someone trading. Up on top, low HP. There's the kill. Oh, CNED. I could feel it. I could feel the play coming, but luckily Vac swung out at just the right moment to catch him off guard. 10-9. Vitality right on the heels of ACEND. They haven't pushed them down to an eco Ryan. There's still plenty of cash there for ACEND to invest into this round.
Spike planted.
Vitality have the right idea when it just comes down to seeing it. You've got to be punchy with those trades. As soon as a kill comes in, you see Vac just having to sprint around that corner. Full-on Ferrari peaks it just to make sure that he goes down, because when it starts to really go in favor of CNED, he can turn a 1v5 into an ace very easily, as we saw in Masters 1 in the grand final against Team Heretics. That was a hell of a play, and he can do those at any given moment. Vitality not too far behind, but the pressure is still on.
No, it most certainly is. The early fights here, down towards long, it is nothing more than posturing. Shots firing out until Killes decides he wants to take it all the way. He's going to peek out. Shock darts coming into his system. Nothing to really write home about just yet. Vitality waiting outside of A with multiple players. They want to fake this out, so they'll continue to pressure. They need to take this map control away from the defenders. But as Coldamenta fires from afar, they don't expect Killes to be here, and so he's able to get one. But on the way back, he is surely dead. With Coldamenta falling, no one was there to cover. Ult Orb to be retrieved. That puts Hunter's Fury online for Loki, and a great start for Vitality into round number 20.
2 players over on B, 1 on A, and Jesman trying to decide where he wants to go at this point. Sender can really get into the heads of Ascend in this position, but it depends on who finds that first battle. Starzo knows that something's up. The dash is going to be a helpful reminder, but Bram still wins that fight. Down to pretty low health, 45 HP, but the dash works out super well. CNED gets the up, gets the kill, dashes out, might be worth a save, but Vitality just burdening Ascend now as we're looking to go even on score yet again.
I love that flank from Sander. Oh, he's making a lot of noise. CNED knows he's here. CNED's ready for the fight, but so is Sander, 10 to 10. That's, well, that's a solid round for Vitality, if anything. I like the fact that they pressure B so much, but you could tell by the positions they wanted to go back to A. Then they win the fights. They win both duels on the site, and they're like, okay, well, I guess we'll just commit to this, move up, but they still leave one player who had been lurking out to move in late, come up behind, because he pushed A, wrapped around behind, and there was no way Bone Cold was ready for that, grinding that final kill to really destroy any chance of going in for the retake.
The fact that Jesmond uses the Viper's Pit, though, is a bit of a shame. It goes to show that it's just seen Ed left. We still need to use the ultimate. We still need to respect him, and they've done that so far. Now Ascend with a pistol buy starting to be a bit more aggressive. The headshot does actually connect onto Brams. 5 HP, but Vitality with a better gun, so just gonna be able to clean this up. They seem to have Ascend's number. You'd say that up until Keyless decides to push for more. This guy's already on 30 kills. He's looking to make it 40 potentially. But Sender sort of woken up on the server a little bit more. He's going to punish this he could buy. Vitality looking to take the lead when Ascend were looking to be the top team in the first half.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the way things started out in both halves seemed to favor Ascend, but Vitality's ability to play from behind is absolutely unbelievable so far. There will be weapons retrieved potentially by the remaining Ascend players, although I say the remaining, maybe Starzo. But Bone Cold is now way too far away. He's hearing the steps at this point as well. He's heard at least one coming down from long. There's the shock dart, confirms it, and he's ready to take this fight. Not much he can really do here with the Sheriff. Let's see if he can hit those heads and make this around for them. As he creeped, oh, if he crept through there, he could get the backstab on. That wall's not going to be lasting all too much longer either. Bone Cold fails to hit the shot, and that's it. He's been spotted. The surprise factor now gone. This becomes a whole lot more difficult. And with Starzo left alone, it's all about those exit frags and dying to the spike so he has money for the next round.
I wonder what people's impression of this game was, because everybody obviously feels that Ascend should be the favorites in this. Still can be. Obviously, we spoke about the map pool in the pre-show. Still favoring Ascend from this point onwards. This is the one map that Vitality should be winning. But is it just that Ascend, because they were Masters 1, should then be qualifying and being one of the top teams in Europe, or and maybe people's opinions on Vitality still pretty low, even with the roster changes and the better running performance?
Yeah, I think the fact that Ascend's matchups recently, especially the Fnatic one, is just so dominant. And when you look at Vitality, they've been doing decently, but it doesn't necessarily feel like they've reached the same peak as Ascend have, and haven't really fallen off of too much in the matches since. This is probably the toughest one that they've had. And one thing here, this is a tactical timeout from Ascend. Something we actually don't see used by teams all too much in Valorant, I gotta be honest, compared with Counter-Strike, and I do wonder if that's maybe something that over time will evolve. Because in same in CS, if you go to the newer teams and you go back a couple of years, people didn't really use timeouts, and now they've become fairly commonplace whenever you lose 4 or 5 rounds in a row.
Yeah, when things aren't looking good. Both these teams do have very vocal coaches as well, and even we're seeing the likes of G2 that went so long without really feeling that they needed a coach, maybe go for one. And so it seems to be working out super nicely, both very vocal ones with Fragan and NBS, so works out well in both the favors to have these tactical timeouts when things are going wrong, but Vitality Could be surprising on their map pick. 11-10 up. A full buy and 4 ultimates for ACEND. So if this is around to really take the momentum and take the wind out of the sails of Vitality, it should be now. But the plant is going down seemingly uninterrupted, but the Hunter's Fury is actually baited out. Doesn't catch on to any real information or damage. Vitality actually sticking on A, not going to bait away, but it's allowed ACEND in onto the site.
Yeah, they've got control again, and with the Viper's pit down on B, there's not much you can really do to rotate over. It'd be a tough retake. They have to go through middle and ignore the control over long. But that's when Bone Cold just drops his ultimate. They think he's gone, but he's still lurking around at yellow, looking for the player coming out long. What a shot! A wallbang headshot to Sender. This is getting pretty tough. Vitality, man disadvantage, Snakebite coming in. Oh, you're taking so much damage if a bullet hits you. Bram's down to 43. That stage, one wall bang away from death. Loki tries to make the flank, tries to make it work, but it's instead a double flank play. It's Killaz that I'm worried about. He's on his way through Tube. Cold Dementa baiting them out into open combat, but that's buying time for the flank to come through. Only Loki left to be found. He will catch one from the side for sure. Hunter's Fury comes in, but it's way too late. That defuse is well and truly underway. 11-11, and can he save the weapon is the question. It looks like it. Killaz doesn't want anything to do with that late round fight. Or tied up here, and the winner of this, if the winner of this rather is Vitality, they'll look very good to close this out. The economy's still in a pretty tough spot for ACEND.
Oh, I feel so bad for Loki. The first time he pulls away the Hunter's Fury and it still gets defused, and this time he fully dedicates with the ultimate and it still gets defused in between a break. He had such a good position as well. ACEND had no idea that he'd snuck all the way into their defensive half. It just catches him out completely. Now the Hunter's Fury, the Blade Storm is going to be used to try and make use of this. Maybe force Brams to be a bit more aggressive, try and catch a kill very early on. And ACEND have been respecting Vitality so far, sitting back a little bit. But Bone Cold actually decided to sort of screw that. Was going to face up a bit more, but he saw the Snakebite come through from Jesmond. He's going to sit back, just wait for Vitality to make that first move.
Oh, it's the little peek from Bone Cold and Snowman. Now he's got an orb to help him cross back over, and whoops, out there, already spotted Brams. He's seen the ultimate. He knows he's rushing it down. Those comms got to be communicated over, but oh no! A whiff by Brams. Bone Cold punishes him. I was certain he was gone. Even gets a second afterwards and now has support. Vitality, they're crumbling. They're falling apart. Back in a 1v4. 40 seconds, spike not planted. Everything going against him on this one, and especially Starzo with the Bulldog to close it out. 12-11. This was Vitality's chance. If they won this round, they're looking at a likely 13 with ACEND on low money. But now ACEND can fight and at least get an overtime, possibly even close it out. It's a full buy for both teams. And in terms of ultimates, I mean, it doesn't look great for Vitality, Ryan.
Yeah, ACEND have so much going for them. For Vitality, you still have a full buy, thankfully. But you're 2 orbs away from having the Viper's Pit, which has worked out pretty well for Jesmond so far, and the Resurrect. You have to be a player down in order to use it though, so that usually means that you're not in the best position. ACEND can close it out here. On Vitality's map pick, they're really going for it actually now, dedicating some of these ultimates, but Brams finds that first kill.
He does indeed. Killaz now down. The big player removed again in the early round. Cold Dementa falls, and CNET has to be worried about the flank from the right. That plant comes through. They are in so much trouble with Brams on the flank as well. I don't think they have a read on this. This should be the free round, surely. The wall blocks him out for now as he steps on closer, and there it is. The res not able to be popped. The knives, oh no, it was, and still they get both kills. Bone Cold 1 versus 5, and I think this might be the end of it. We might be going to overtime. This is a shame for ACEND. They looked so good, but that A defense finally overrun. Bone Cold not able to get it done. It is OT here.
Vitality really making their map pick work against the Masters 1 winners. Very interesting round. You've got the sneak in, the Resurrect being used, and CNET even falls into the fold. Nice way from Brams to find the leg, but CNET just, he couldn't land in a worse position at that point. And now it's just whoever can pull these 2 rounds in a row together, attacking and defending. And this is where ACEND should be able to really start to get some consistency. You're not relying on ultimates anymore. You can get the operator if CNED wants it, but attacking up in hasn't really been his style so far. Brams, however, picks it up instantly, no armor, really wants to make it work. Interesting how he's gone from low on the frag list to actually just being behind Loki, who's also had a good series so far, and CNED, well, behind Keyless because he's been on one on Icebox.
32 kills coming out of regulation, not bad, and he reached that pretty early on as well. I feel like the last couple of rounds, he's being punished in pretty heavily. The space he's trying to take, the thing that we complimented him so much for in the first couple of rounds, now really coming to haunt him as he can't quite get in the same groove. I say that last round, I didn't even notice the res had gone through, because instead of "you will not kill," it was just "you," and she was dead instantly. It was so quick.
Yeah.
Oh, that poison orb. That'll deny all control in mid, but Vac is on his way down. He's got a teammate with him. Sender forces the fight early, and CNED is down. Great early aggression by Vitality. That wasn't great early aggression by Vitality when they continued it, though.
It's just finding those fights. I think that's what teams like G2 have been doing so well recently, like their revitalization. Take a peek back out. Time the next peak to a point where they're not expecting it. It seems to be really catching some of these teams through. But Vitality are still not letting up. Not only do they wall it, they back off. Keyless, if he was still on top of that box, could have punished Sender just a little bit more. A lot of fire over on B, but the spike is posturing more towards A. There is Brams there waiting with the operator. He needs to hit this first shot if this is the direction that Starzo is going to take the spike.
Oh, ACEND, they favored the A site so much, and I think that's why Vitality wanted to push B and mid at the start of this round. It's a gamble, though, when you're in overtime. Luckily, they don't lose too much for it. Brams still with the dash available, happy to take more aggressive peeks. He's not in danger of being spotted. That flash, though, does catch him. Bone Cold down as they push forward here. Killaz, if he falls, this round goes awry, but this shot, it misses just over his shoulder. Brams now in a bit more trouble. Oh, what's that, Starzo? They knew the op was there, they didn't respect it, and now they pay the price. Only Coldamenta left, 1v4, and as the spike goes down, he swung on to close it out. Vitality now 13-12 as they look set to take this, potentially this map. I mean, their attack has been pretty good so far.
That pick from Brams onto Starzo was one of the reasons why Vitality were able to turn it. He misses the first shot. A lot of Jets would probably not go for that, knowing that there's going to be an A execute coming in shortly. But he still faces. Clearly, Starzo doesn't predict that coming through. Goes down before the wall's put up, before the spike's planted. Vitality can clean up house here. They have been really impressive, maybe a little bit rough around the edges with their approach, but the individual performance of these players has been exceptional. You could say that Jessamine, yeah, lagging behind with the frags a little bit, but it is the Viper, it's the setup play, and it's that sort of mid-round and riffing that Vitality seems to be doing a really good job of. And if ACEND is struggling with this, well, what about some of the other teams in Europe if they get to face this new Vitality?
Yeah, absolutely. And whether they get to face them or not really comes down to this series. Single Elim here, BO3. Vitality start out with the opening, and it is Killaz again to fall in the early fights. They've done a phenomenal job of dealing with him. CNED coming up with the operator in hand, spots the planter. He's being revealed. He sees so many players, but waits his time to take the shot. The wall bang, good. And hold on, ACEND have still got some fight left in them, but they're in dire straits. Coldamenta again to clutch it. A 1v2 this time, but the side swipe is what they needed. Jessamine to finish the round, 14-12.